My name is Jessica Kato, and I am the literacy resource teacher for the Campbell-Kapolei complex area. I've been in this position for the past 5 years, and before that I was an academic coach at Farrington High School, where I was the coordinator of the teacher leadership cadre who planned and executed PD for our faculty. This professional learning framework I'm going to talk about today is something that can be used by anyone who designs learning experiences for educators. It could be administrators, department heads, academy leads, GLCs, and of course academic coaches. I've used this framework for over 10 years and really refined it as we've designed learning for various cohorts. Currently in Campbell-Kapolei, we're running our 6th cohort for complex-wide initiatives, and we've used this framework to organize cohorts of learning across many of the 18 schools we serve here in the complex area. This framework has really come to be after many years of trying to design authentic, impactful professional learning for educators across our schools. A lot of times when we attend professional learning sessions that are a one and done type of thing, we might have a good time at the session, but then we've noticed that sometimes the strategies learned and the ideas explored aren't brought back to the classroom. And we really wanted to change that. Specifically with our recent comprehensive literacy state development grant, we wanted to find a way to have really meaningful, authentic professional learning where educators felt valued, empowered, and inspired to take what they learned and bring it back to their classes. So with that, we designed this framework as a means to create those experiences for educators. So I'm going to go over the professional learning framework for high impact, and it's really just 5 things to think about that we've found when designing PD make the learning more impactful for everyone involved. The first is to really use a cohort model when designing these learning experiences. It's really important that participants have time to think about their learning and revisit it across a longer span of time, maybe a year, maybe a semester. It also really helps when the cohort gets to know each other. So as you're thinking about your cohort model, you really want to build in time in the learning for members of the cohort to connect with one another and to try out the learning that they're going to be doing in their classroom setting and then come back and discuss it with one another. The second aspect of our framework is to really solicit and respond to feedback from the participants. And this also really works well with the cohort model because it's not a one and done session. You're able to return to it. So at the end of every session, we always ask participants for their feedback, whether or not there was something from the session that they're going to use, whether they found the presenter to be knowledgeable and effective. And we always leave open-ended questions for participants to really just tell us what they need. And the key to that is to actually read it and respond to it. We set aside time to read that feedback soon after every session and incorporate that into the planning for the next time the cohort meets. And sometimes it's hard to listen to what participants want. Something that's hard for me is there's always a desire for more planning time and more collaboration. And I am always thinking about I have so much content to get through. But it's really important that we listen to what the participants need and incorporate that in their next session. I also try to think about designing rejuvenating spaces for participants. So when we're designing these spaces, we really want participants to feel empowered, respected, and like their knowledge and wisdom really matters. We never want participants to feel as if we are trying to tell them what to do or know more than them. And with that comes having a comfortable space, ensuring that participants know what to expect, providing the schedule well in advance, and really just creating a time for educators to feel refreshed and happy to come to this training session, not like it's an extra burden. The next is ensuring that our budgetary planning has space for educators to request the resources they need. So in addition to planning out, substitute fees, stipends, perhaps consultant fees, we set aside some money for educators to ask us for what they need. It could be soil for a garden that they're inspired to create through PBL training, or a professional learning resource that they learned about from one of our presenters, or even a set of novels that they want their students to read. need. We make sure that there's a system in place for educators to request those things, and we have money set aside to respond quickly to those requests. The last piece is really structuring time to celebrate and reflect on learning. Of course, we do this at the end of every cohort where we have big celebrations where participants present what they've learned. But we also look for data points that participants can think about and celebrate each session that they attend. We create time, space, and structures for participants to look back at the learning they've been through and their students have been through and find those small successes to build upon. It's something we're really intentional about because we want participants, educators, everyone involved to really feel like what they're doing is meaningful and impactful. In addition to a lot of anecdotal evidence that this framework has been effective, in school year 22-23, out of over 500 survey responses, 94% of participants have indicated that they would use something from these professional learning sessions in their classrooms almost immediately. And over 99% of participants felt that the facilitator was knowledgeable and effective, and the experience was effective. One of the biggest challenges in designing professional learning this way is really time. It takes time to be more intentional. It takes time to really listen to what participants need. And it takes time to do the cohort model. You're really committing to the learning in a way that's different than just having a one-shot session. But we find that spending that time really pays off. If I had any advice for anybody who was following this framework or designing some professional learning cohorts moving forward, it would be to trust the wisdom of those participating in the learning. Everybody has something to bring to the space, and when we really listen to the wisdom in the room and really listen to the people that we're serving, that's when the learning is authentic and meaningful and used moving forward. Everyone a leader, everyone a learner. We is greater than me. CK strong.